But tonight, the fight is far from over. We have live team coverage on the ban's huge impact here in the Bay Area. We start with KPIX5's Kate O'Garen live at SFO, where protesters are demanding detainees be released. Kate.
And Juliet, they are still here as we speak. We do know of at least one family that has been released. It is unclear how many are still inside or when they will be let go. But protesters I spoke with say they are vowing to stay here at San Francisco International overnight until all detainees are released.
No bans, no walls.
This executive order is tearing families apart.
This is a racist, Islamophobic president fulfilling his campaign promises.
It's outrageous and it's un-American, and it's not the country that we want to be.
Protesters in the hundreds flooded SFO's International Arrivals Terminal, outside and in. Their weapons, signs, chants, and song. In the sea of people, families waiting for hours for their loved ones to come home.
Wants to come here to be educated, and he's halfway through his studies or partway through his studies, and he can't come back.
Zahra Billu, executive director of San Francisco Bay Area's Council on American Islamic Relations.
We know that American values speak louder than any executive order, and that our neighbors and friends are willing to stand with us and protect us from persecution.
The sounds of discontent, defiance echoed through the terminal, grabbing the attention of State Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom.
Two of the families with two of the 6 detainees that are there, one said, all I want to do is hug my son. And of course, I, as a father, literally, had to walk in the corner because, tearing up.
What did those families say to you about?
They said, help us, do something. And I just feel beat. Like, do something, go in there. One of them legitimately started yelling at me because she's looking at me to do something. Just walk in there, break in. Get arrested. She wanted me to get arrested. I get it.
We were inside when the crowds cheered after the news came down that a federal judge in New York blocked deportations. But immediately after the cheers came concern. How long would this last, and what would this mean for the countless others whose visas were canceled? So, Juliet, there's still a lot of unknowns tonight. We're reporting live at SFO. Back to you in the studio.
Kate, thank you.
Our team coverage continues now with KPIX5's Andrea Borba and the legal fight underway to stop the travel ban. Andrea?
Well, Brian, it was an on-call judge in the Eastern District of New York who granted the injunction request for an immediate stop to the executive order from the ACLU, citing the likelihood the order violated the due process and equal protection guaranteed by the Constitution. In 2 pages, federal court Judge Ann Donnelly put at least a temporary stop to President Donald Trump's executive order on immigration. The American Civil Liberties Union rushed into court on behalf of 2 Iraqis detained at JFK because of the order.
The judge, in a nutshell, saw through what the government was doing and gave us what we wanted, which was to block the Trump order, and not allow the government to remove anybody who's come and is caught up in the order nationwide. They cannot remove anybody.
The ruling applies to all 170 people trying to get back into the U.S. on legal visas and green cards from countries listed under the executive order. KPIX5 legal analyst, retired Judge Ladoris Cordell, says the wording on Judge Donnelly's injunction is of note.
The judge actually labels the executive order issued by President Trump as misconduct. So she basically writes in her order, you're stopped, you're enjoined from engaging in these acts, and she uses the word and misconduct. So the misconduct is engaging in acts that are violative of the Constitution.
All day Saturday, there were lawyers like the ones captured in this image from the New York City mayor's office, working on the floors of airports across the country, putting together habeas corpus petitions to get those detained out of custody.
But at a minimum, they will not be returned back to danger.
Judge Cordell says the speed from which the president's executive order became the subject of a federal injunction may be unprecedented.
What just happened is highly unusual and may be just groundbreaking. And it may be what's in store that's coming next.
Now that next step will be a hearing in late February about the executive order. From there, either side can appeal to an appellate court and eventually all the way up to the Supreme Court. In the newsroom, Andrea Borba, KPIX 5.